Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And Vincent Van Code put out two great posts today with the whole Swift argument still continuing on. He said, don't ever forget, the big banks make huge profits from the current friction in cross-border payments. They have zero incentives to change and will lobby hard to hold on to the crappy Swift system. That is why in ETH, our clunky blockchain model has been purposed. ETH doesn't do any native cross-border, so it all has to be built. It is more symbolic to say, oh yes, we are now doing blockchain, than actually doing it. But the fight is not over. There are thousands of smaller banks and major institutions who have had enough, are being excluded because they don't have enough liquidity. The XRP ledger fixes this, and with the help of Ripple, these smaller players can do proper AML, CTF compliant transactions globally without succumbing to the big banks. So honestly, some of the foolish people on X supporting Swift all of a sudden because they think Link or ETH is now tied to it seem to think that this is going to kick XRP Ledger out of the race. In any case, see you on the racetrack. And I don't say this often, let's see whose horse wins. Place your bets. I always bet on XRP. I know how outdated the Swift system is. It's 50 plus years old. People are fed up with it. China, Russia, the BRICS countries, they're done with Swift because of U.S. sanctions. Other countries, they want a level playing field. That's why in the end, Ripple will end up winning. Ask yourself, why is Swift, after 12 years of seeing blockchain technology evolve around them, decide now to start considering it as part of its solution? The last breath of an old dying beast. XRP Ledger and Ripple have built and proven their tech for the past 10 years. It's mature, stable, and secured by nearly $300 billion, not including real-world assets and stablecoin assets. The XRP Ledger is now officially a truly immutable, public, high availability blockchain, and Ripple has built the middleware to safely allow banks to hook up. I don't see Swift as a threat. Quite the opposite. I see Swift actually acquiring Ripple, or the big banks acquiring a major shareholding in it. Time will tell. I think there will come a time where possibly Ripple just acquires Swift. You got to remember who runs the big banks and runs the entire world. It's the elites of the world. And I think they chose Ripple and XRP a long time ago. So they already see RippleNet and XRP as the future. It's just a matter of time until either Swift takes over Ripple, or Ripple becomes part of Swift, or Swift just gets consumed by Ripple. One or the other is going to happen. And as XRP holders, we benefit either way. This comes from Smoke, example of a third-party Swift technology provider, Volante, which is Ripple enabled through a partnership, allowing XRP to be utilized on the Swift network as an ISO 222 compliant token, and it's documented 4 times. XRP is already tied into Swift through companies like Volante and others. Everybody's making the connections right now because the world is almost ready for a new financial system. And even ex-Ripple director Matt Hamilton explains why XRP is 10 times more value than Link. He says, trying to compare their value is sort of meaningless. Link is a protocol. The XRP ledger is an actual network. XRP is the native asset of that entire network. Link is just a token used within the Link protocol. Link is only going to handle the data. Link is still going to have value in the future, but if anything, if Swift was to fall right now, Link is finished. Ripple will end up saving Link in the end. That's what I see happening. And look at it. Brad already chose to work with Chainlink with RLUSD. They're not fighting each other. Chainlink knows its place in the new financial system. Same thing with Ripple and XRP. And now, all of a sudden, people think that Ripple runs on a network of influencers. And even Bill Morgan pointed out, this is the type of nonsense and untruth that should be called out. If there had been any evidence of this kind, it would have been well and truly been ventilated by the SEC in the SEC versus Ripple case. Had there been such evidence, which there wasn't, there's a likelihood in my mind that Ripple would have lost the case entirely, including on programmatic sales. If there had been such evidence, it would have appeared smack bang in this part of the judgment. The SEC had nothing to show the court about hype or promotional activities directed to programmatic and secondary market buyers. Right away, all of a sudden, influencers are controlling the price of XRP. Ripple is paying influencers to talk about XRP. Listen, I talk about XRP because I see where it's going. I see how big this actually is, and I want to share it with as many people as I possibly can, because I truly do want people to get financial freedom. I care about every single one of you. If there was ever a problem with XRP that I foresee happening, I would definitely share it with all of you, because I want you to get financial freedom. Insight, XRP may be Wall Street's dark horse, with spot ETF filings in motion and some funds viewing it as the next Bitcoin. They are already looking past Bitcoin. And for years, most of these institutions that are about to really jump into this space, they already know that XRP was always looked at as the next Bitcoin. It's solving all the problems with Bitcoin. They seen the problems with Bitcoin and said, hey, we could do better. Let's build this. Let's build something that actually can get global adoption. Let's build something that moves anything of value. And multi-purpose tokens are now live on the XRP ledger. Multi-purpose tokens are very important when it comes to tokenization. They're a form of fungible token on the XRP ledger. They have been designed for greater efficiency and ease of use based on lessons learned from Trustline tokens on the XRP ledger. MPTs let you take advantage of ready-to-use tokenization features with a few lines of code. You can create many token experiences from one integration, while the code of the XRP ledger blockchain does the heavy lifting. This was very important going forward with the rise of tokenization. And this is also going to play a very big part of institutions coming on board to the XRP ledger for tokenization purposes. Everything is falling in line, is what I'm telling you. Analyst E. Greg explains why an XRP flushout is better than a quick pump. What he's talking about is a healthy pullback. He'd like to see a healthy pullback before we blast off. A healthy pullback in crypto is always good. It builds for a higher push up. In other words, if you're expecting a certain price point, if there's a pullback right before it happens, usually we tend to go higher. Let's see if that happens again. I would like to see XRP just break out from where it's sitting right now and go into price discovery. Because I know the second that we enter price discovery, the FOMO is going to be absolutely incredible. Everybody's going to be so damn excited. They're not going to be able to put their phones down when this happens. Top trader who bet against XRP has now lost millions. Renowned crypto trader Quanchio has once again suffered a significant liquidation on his massive XRP short position, pushing his total losses beyond $3.6 million. I would never trade XRP or bet against XRP because I've seen it way too many times in the past. Since I've been an XRP holder, I've watched so many people say, we are going to start to break upward from here. Then XRP breaks down. People calling for a major dip, usually the opposite happens and we start breaking upward once again. It is way too hard to call this market, and it sure as hell is way too hard to call where XRP is going. It's one of the most unpredictable cryptocurrencies, and it always tends to prove people wrong. XRP price could reach $10 if Bitcoin smashes $469,000. People are just never going to learn. It doesn't matter what happens with Bitcoin. XRP is eventually going to decouple from Bitcoin, and I truly cannot wait for that to happen. I want that to happen because then we see how XRP performs when real-world events play out. Does it dip like Bitcoin always dips every time there's conflict in the world? Will it hold up better than Bitcoin in those situations? How high can the price go based on utility? Eventually, we are going to see the decoupling from Bitcoin. And when it happens, I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised because XRP has real world use case and utility, and it has real value propping up the price of XRP. Bitcoin is propped up by Tether printed out of thin air. And this is why XRP will hit $100. It has to hit $100. Take a listen to this.
They're going to drive liquidity into it through the ETFs. It'll move very quickly to $50 to $100, somewhere in there. Once it's over $100, that's where they can really start using it. It has enough liquidity in it to start settling transactions at scale globally. And then they can continue to push the supply shock as they need to with the escrow. As demand increases, if they don't meet that demand with more of the escrow coming onto the market, the price would move higher. People get mad about the escrow, but the escrow is the secret. The escrow is the secret to the supply shock for XRP and the ability to adjust the price wherever they need it to be for liquidity. So if they need to hold it steady, they put more onto the market and it stays at the same price. If they want the price to go up, they don't put any more onto the market. And then the demand drives the price higher.
And that's why XRP will reach $100. Because eventually, and we are very close to this happening, they're going to need XRP for that on-demand liquidity. They're going to need XRP to move currencies all around the world. And it's going to see institutional adoption very soon. Mass adoption is most likely less than 2 years away for XRP. The institutions are going to open up everything for this cryptocurrency because they also want to make money. And how do they make money? They got to get it being used by every single person out there. They want to be the middleman between XRP and blockchain and the regular population, the people that never invested in crypto, because they're going to want to onboard everyone when this all happens. But I think we're very close to that. Once the institutions get here, the countdown will begin to mass adoption. And the institutions, they're already ready to jump on all in. They're just waiting on regulations, which are also coming by the end of 2025. The time frame is starting to really shrink now, is what I'm saying. But until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.